Hey dudes!
Morning.
Welcome back to a new video.
In this video we will tell you 7 mistakes to avoid when coming to Latvia.
Yeah, a couple of months ago we did 7 mistakes to avoid when you go to Malta, so today we're doing one in Latvia.
It's time for Latvia since we moved here. Since there are 7 mistakes, we will get to them right away. And the first mistake is relying on English as your main language. Because when you come here to Latvia, it might not be as commonly used as you would be used to in Europe. Here we have Latvian language and Russian language, 2 main languages which are sufficient to survive here, but English not so much.
Yeah, obviously in schools we learn almost 4 languages. We learn Latvian, obviously. We learn Russian because we have quite a big majority of people living here are Russians. We learn English from quite an early age, and some people choose to learn German, and if you're super fancy you might learn French. I've heard about that as well. But the thing is, because you learn it in school, people younger generations will definitely understand it and they might speak English as well. But the thing is, because we don't need to use it here, you kind of forget it, and I think the older generations will definitely be harder to understand and a bit harder or more difficult to speak with. The younger generations might understand it, but they might be a bit shy in the beginning because we just forget to use the languages.
Us Latvians are shy in general, so obviously if you have a situation where you want to use English and you don't know any Latvian or Russian, which is normal, try to approach younger people, because like you say, since the younger generations, since we got the internet connection here in Latvia, we have also YouTube, we follow along news, that kind of thing. Obviously people use English, but it might be that younger generations are your best bet.
Alright, so number 2 for us is to rely on public transportation here. So in Malta we chose the opposite, that you should use and try public transportation more, and here we're choosing the opposite. So the thing with public transportation here is that it's not very convenient. The prices are not great, you're not gonna save much if you use it. Yeah, it's confusing and difficult to understand even for locals. We came here, obviously we lived here for most of our lives, but coming back here it's still confusing to understand where you're gonna go, how you're gonna use it. The ticket system is quite inconvenient, so if you have a chance, we definitely would prefer, if you're just coming here as a tourist, to try and lease a car or rent a car for yourself for a couple of days, because you're going to be able to explore a lot more.
Yeah, like you say, the prices are not the cheapest. Here in Latvia, they charge you for rides rather than for time. So you have to go purchase these cards that they will top up your rides, and each ride is only valid one time. So you jump on public transportation, you register your card, and even if you need to go for 2 stops, which is not maybe the best use of your money, is you're gonna count the ride. So once you're off the transport, even if it's you've been on for 5 minutes, your ride is gone, so you have to pay for another ride once you jump into another public transportation. Whereas in other places it's you can use time cards. So in Malta, for example, you purchase a ride also, but it's valid for 2 hours, so you can go and change your transportation and use it for on buses, and you can change the bus routes. Whereas here one route is just as much as you can get for one ride.
We have a lot more public transportation choices. So in Malta it was quite easy because you just have the bus, and it's connected throughout the country. Here we have trolleys, trams, buses, we have interstate buses, then we have trains, and only some of them are connected and the rest of them work their own ways, so that's what makes it a bit more difficult to understand for me.
Yeah, and one bus ride or tram ride is 1.15, and also they're not usually that well connected. So if you go somewhere, let's say you want to visit a zoo, for example, but you live in I don't know, not city center, you would have to take at least 2 transportations, so it would be at least 2 rides, and not always they are connected, so you would have to wait, and the waiting times also are interesting because not all trams or buses are going regularly, so it's normal here that it's like once an hour, or even there's no bus routes through like a couple of hours when it's like a quiet period. So you have to check whether it's actually worth it or whether it's just take a car and go around. And the third on our list is coming here in winter. So as you know, Latvia is Eastern European country. We have long winters, snow, cold. When there is no snow, it's just dark. So it might not be the best time to visit. We much prefer coming here in summer because Latvia is seasonal, and Latvia has like a proper winter and proper summer, and summers are much nicer.
Yeah, so obviously there might be some of you who just want to see that snow experience, then it might not be the mistake to avoid for you, but we have this period starting from end of October and beginning of November until I would say April. So the November is cold, rainy, dark, and just quite depressive. Then maybe if you're interested in that snowy white Christmas time, hopefully on Christmas time and January you might see some snow if the world goes in the right direction. But then after that you're kind of annoyed with all the snow and cold in the January, February, March season. So yeah, it's not that interesting. In March it starts to melt. It's still like, it's not sunny or warm, so it's still not interesting. But the summertime, when the summertime comes, it's great. Everything is green, it's sunny, you can even try to swim. So yeah, then it's beautiful and super enjoyable. So I think for most Latvians that live abroad, try to come back only in the summertime because that's the best time to be here, and it's really beautiful and much more enjoyable.
Yeah, and also one thing to note about the snow, us locals, we know the best that the snow can make a big mess here because roads need to get cleaned, and there's a lot of roads to clean. Even if you live in a city, the roads are slippery, the transportation will be a bit harder because if you go to places you have to account for more time on the road, and even the accidents that happen, so they will slow you down because you have to wait longer, sit in traffic, and then when the snow machines are coming through, you have to like kind of, it will be it's not that simple as you might think it is.
Yeah, and for all the snowboarding, ski trips, it's really hard to plan because there's a very short period of small window, because one day it's going to be snowy, beautiful, this wonderland, and then next day it starts melting and it's raining. So so it's really hard to get that beautiful time.
It changes really fast.
And number 4 on our list of mistakes to avoid will be using the local taxis. Obviously, you'll pretty much will hear this in every single video about every single country, but in our country it's definitely true. The local unrecognized black taxis, or whichever the cars they have, if you speak English, not Russian or Latvian, they will definitely rip you off incredibly. Actually, even if you speak Latvian or Russian, because they don't care. They know that there's a lot of Latvians coming from their rich countries getting their big monies, and they'll just rip you off if they have a chance. So the best bet for us is using like the well-known taxi apps like Bolt and whichever you recognize in your own country. I think there's probably more.
Oh, definitely. Use the ones that you can see your charges before you get on the taxi, because even though we are Latvians, we coming from airport, we got ripped off as well because we had like 6 suitcases to fit in a car, and so we couldn't get a Bolt because the Bolt only were available the small cars, so no minivans were available at that time, and we were waiting for an hour already to pick up our baggage. And then we were jumping into a taxi that was right next to the entrance, and we got the price we should have paid for the ride was about 5 to 8 euros. Instead we paid 25 euros just to get to the airport for like 5 kilometers really. So it's not really your mistake as a foreigner, it's just how it runs here in Latvia. So be careful and use Bolt or any other app that actually shows your charges before.
Yeah, for some reason we noticed that the taxi guys have 5 different ways of charging you. So it's basically how you look and how much baggage you have, and probably clearly because you're from the airport, you look rich, so you're gonna get number 5 button, and that's like the most that they can charge from you.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
they're not gonna give you a receipt, so they can also decide extra charges like because you brought in baggage, which like obviously they're like, yeah, extra $5. So yeah, be careful about that.
So the next one is kind of a joke, but not really. So it's avoiding the big three. If you stay here in Riga, we call it as big three because no one else calls it that way. But since we were sitting down and thinking about this video, we kind of grouped these places together, and these are the places you should avoid going to as a tourist, because first of all, there's not much to see, second of all, they are really sketchy, and they are in Riga city center. The first one is Origo, which is a train station, which is also built in a supermarket mall kind of thing, but it's kind of
sketchy.
It's very just sketchy. You will find people that you won't find anywhere else. In the same region, there is a central market, which also maybe sounds interesting to go to see a marketplace. It's open air, but it's nothing like you imagine. So it's gonna be really like eBay clothing and just like overpriced food.
As you said, it might seem like this, oh, you have to go to the local markets and everything, but it's really creepy Soviet Union buildings and old people, and then a lot of pickpocketers.
A lot of old people.
Yeah, and all, as you said, the eBay stuff is like incredibly poor quality, actually not that good of a price for the things that they're selling. And yeah, just if you go to like smaller cities and go to those local markets, it's going to be definitely a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be really nice people selling interesting Latvian stuff and stuff like that, but that big central market is definitely a place to avoid.
Yeah, much rather go to Saturday, Sunday markets further away. There's, like you say, in other city centers, they just make a place and then like homemade stuff is being sold. But in that central market, there's just like, it's open I think every day, but there's like, they sell fish and vegetable at the same stand, and it's like, you know,
and some stolen stuff, you know. It's not like a black market, but it's just like this kind of creepy place where
it's like a gray market.
Gray market would be a good name for that.
And the last third place in the same region of the big three is the bus station. So avoid, if you don't have to take a bus to another city, I would not go there for no purpose at all, because you will get, even if you have to go somewhere, you have to be careful, because there will be those guys selling stolen perfumes and whatnot, so they will offer you stuff, and it's just like really weird.
There's, in all 3 of those places in the whole trio, there's a lot of homeless people and a lot of pickpocketers and just like really sketchy people. It's not a great experience at all, and that's probably another reason why the public transportation is not that great, because the train station is there and the main bus station is there if you want to travel to different cities. So yeah.
Not the best.
Don't include this in your trip.
Yeah.
Alright, and number 6, even though we just trashed all the public transport and bus and train stations, is not to stay in Riga the whole stay you're being here.
Yeah, Latvia has a lot more to offer than Riga. Obviously you will start here because this is where we have our only airport that functions internationally, and so you will start your trip here no matter what. But then if you're staying here for longer than 3 days, I would suggest you to rent a car and get away, because you will find a lot more things and it will be a different experience than just staying here.
So if you just look at the map of Latvia, you will see a lot of kind of bigger cities that pop up, and those definitely will be a great experience, because the super small cities might be a bit more abandoned and there's not going to be a lot to see, but those bigger cities have a lot to offer. So not to make this video incredibly long, we named a couple of them that you would definitely enjoy in our opinion, and one of them is Ventspils, which is a city next to the sea, and it's probably one of the furthest places, but it's a great city. It's very beautiful, well developed. Another city that you would definitely enjoy is Sigulda, which is a quite kind of an older city, but it's beautiful, and the best time to visit it would be in autumn when the leaves turn orange and more beautiful, and just the nature there is beautiful as well.
Yeah, as we have mentioned before, Sigulda is the one place where Latvians go to watch leaves. And obviously, if you're here in autumn, that's like a must. You have to go there. You have to take the air tram that will take you from one side of the city to the other, and you can just see the bird's eye view from the city. It's really nice. And then obviously we chose TALSI because I'm from TALSI, and there's 9 mini hills. I don't know how to call them otherwise, but like people from TALSI always will recommend you to go to TALSI, because I don't know why we are like that, and it's just really nice to go there, I guess.
TALSI people, citizens are very proud of their place, but obviously I've been there a couple of times and it is a very beautiful place. So
his dad actually also is from TALSI, and he also always recommends going to TALSI, so I guess we all are like that. Even though we live elsewhere, we're just like, oh yay, TALSI.
Yeah, so a great place to just visit, and it's very beautiful there. So, and the last place that we chose was
Kuldiga. So if you go to Kuldiga, it's like an older city. It has like one of the oldest bridges, and also they have a waterfall kind of thing, which is beautiful.
Is that the widest waterfall in Latvia? And I don't know.
Where Lassi jumps.
Yeah, Latvia is very proud of that place, and it's really
salmon.
cool.
Where salmon jumps up the stream.
So it's quite an interesting place. You can walk through the whole waterfall by feet through it. So
exactly.
It's in the summer.
In summer.
But it's a great place, and like the city Kuldiga is quite nice. It's like with really old houses, quite traditional. So
and stone roads, which you can't see much anymore.
Yeah, so definitely another place. So what we're trying to say is Riga is not the whole country, even though it's the biggest one and the most populated, but the whole country has a lot to offer.
And the 7th thing on our list, and absolutely most important thing, is if you're coming here in summer, is to celebrate Jäņi.
Yeah, the biggest mistake would be not to celebrating them, because
exactly.
It's the most Latvian experience you will see. The whole country pretty much waits it like other countries wait for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that. This is our celebration, and it's midsummer night celebration, but it's like a really huge deal. Some people celebrate it for like, I don't know, 5 days.
For a whole weekend we have this, like, what we do is eat and drink, really. Not that maybe not much to it, but we have our traditions, and it's been like this forever.
Yeah. I mean, people sing like Latvian songs, like really traditional. People dress up like old-time Latvians if they can afford it. We eat Latvian traditional foods like Latvian summertime cheese, which you're only supposed to eat on that day.
Yes.
For some reason, we have Latvian beers and bonfires. And
bonfire actually is, we have to kind of put the bigger meaning to it, because that's one of the most central things of Jäņi, is to make that bonfire through the night and just like feed it and just like have it around.
And people have to jump over it, and people keep jumping over it and show their strength, how far they can jump, and then they fall in it, and you know, it's a great,
because after beer,
couple of beers and stuff like that. So it's an amazing experience for you. If you have a possibility to meet with some Latvian people that will show you what the experience really is, it's definitely something that we missed over the years that we were far away.
And the key is to be in the nature. Usually Jäņi is when people find the one house that they have around their like friends or family where they can go and just be kind of isolated but also in a group. So usually people come together like families, friends. It's like a real party-ish thing, and so you go somewhere remotely, and then you make that fire, and then you have food and music, and it's a festival, but like a mini one
like,
for each family, I guess.
Yeah, every family and a group of friends of whichever amount, like let's say 10 to 50, even more people group together, but all over the country there's a lot of mini festivals going on, but everyone is celebrating the same thing at the same time.
They're doing the same thing there.
Yeah. So definitely try it out, because I'm even like looking forward to it right now.
Definitely, I can't wait to bring some beers, bring some cheese and whatnot, and like also us, we're vegetarians, we obviously are excluded now from that, but also it's like on that bonfire you cook your meal, you have your meats, and then you just like fry them on the stick. I don't know if any other country does that, but you just like put them on the sticks and just like, cook them.
Exactly. So that's something as a vegetarian we might miss, but
we will do the tofu cubes or something, and we'll
and
figure.
from soy, so we're gonna try to find
soy,
out.
yeah, exactly.
So that was number 7 and the last mistake to avoid. There's probably more, but this is the list for us for right now.
So it fits in the video?
Yeah, if you're Latvian and you think there's more mistakes to avoid, leave them in the comments. If you're interested to watch the 7 mistakes about Malta, we'll leave it right here and in the description. And yeah, I think this is gonna be the end of the video.
It sure is the end of the video.
Alright, so if you enjoyed this one, you could leave a like. If you want to follow us and watch more of our videos, you could subscribe, that would be great. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.